Good morning, everyone. You're very welcome to Maynooth University Open Day. Marianne Dunn is my name, and I am the Director of Student Services here in Maynooth University. So a very warm welcome to you for our live event this morning. It's great to see such an interest this morning. Our topic that we're going to talk about is student services and accommodation options. I'm here with my colleagues Shawnee, Corla, Maria and Katja, and they're all involved in different aspects of accommodation and student services here in Maynooth University. We're really looking forward to telling you all about the different options we have available here. We'll have lots of time for questions and answers, so if there's anything you'd like to know, pop it into the Q&A. I'm going to share my screen and just run through a brief overview of student services with you now, so bear with me while I get this. Okay, is that sharing? Okay, yep, great. So you're very welcome to Maynooth University Open Day. Marianne, as I said, is my name. So I'm the Director of Student Services. That's the personal supports here in Maynooth University. So we have a number of different departments in student services, and I suppose the focus is to provide committed and dedicated personal supports to you throughout your time while you're studying at Maynooth. I'm just going to give you a very quick overview of the range of services we have, and I think the main focus then will be on our accommodation. So we have a dedicated counselling service. It's a professional and confidential service that's free to all students in the university. We have a student health centre that's again free and confidential service that's available all through the year while you're in university. We have a dedicated budgeting advice service. We have 2 student budgeting advisors who can help you with all your financial queries. We have a student support officer who is there for one-to-one personal supports. We have a dedicated chaplaincy service, so he's available to support people throughout their journey in university in Maynooth. We have a purpose-built creche on campus, so if anyone has childcare needs, that's available there for you to avail of. We have a student support hub, and Shawnee is with me today from the student support hub. So they have a wide range of services and supports available, and one of them is Homefinder, which Shawnee will talk to you about this morning. And finally, we have a student help desk. So if you have any queries about anything in university, you can contact the student help desk through a wide range of ways, so telephone, email, chat. And what I would suggest is if there's any of these services that you want to look into a bit more, I've popped up our website there, so it's maynoothuniversity.ie/student-services. So I'm going to stop sharing now, if you bear with me again. I get this back. Oh dear. Deirdre, can you?
Yes.
Sorry, my Zoom screen has. Okay, I have it now. Thanks very much. So apologies for that little technical error there. I'm going to hand you over to Corla and Maria now, and they're going to talk to you about student residence and the options on campus for accommodation.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the sunshine. My name is Maria Fahy. I'm from the residence office, and I'm going to speak to you today about booking your on-campus accommodation. So we look at all on-campus, we run the on-campus residence, and we look at how to book for 21-22. So how and when can I book a room on campus? So this is probably the most common question that we get asked. So the first working day after the CEO results in August is when we'll be booking our accommodation. So you're probably aware that the CEO offers date has not yet been confirmed, but we will run in conjunction with them, and our booking will take place the first working day after that first round CEO offers. That booking will take place at 10 a.m. and we run a first come, first served online booking on our website. Who can book these rooms? So the booking is open to any incoming CAO students. The booking, as I said, is the first working day after the CAO offers in August, and that is at 10 a.m. in the morning. So the booking is a first come, first served, as already described. One of the key things we would say to you when you're booking is you need to be using a computer, a PC or a laptop. You need to have a very reliable internet connection, and you need a card with €500 to pay the booking fee and access to the phone associated with the card, because you will be asked to verify the payment for the booking. Another question that comes up a lot for us is, what if I don't get a room on campus? Unfortunately, demand for campus is higher than the rooms we have available. And what we would say to you is that there's loads of really good alternative options, which Shawnee and Katja will speak to you about shortly. And we will run a very small second offering in late August for any rooms that are cancelled after the first booking. But we would advise students to go and look at the other really good options that are available to them. Some other schemes we just wanted to make you aware of that we do have on campus. We would say to you that you need to go online, have a look at them and see if you are interested or if they're applicable to you. But I'll very briefly run through the 3 schemes that we have available. So the first one we have is the Skein Cónaithe. The Skein Cónaithe is a designated block of 30 rooms. And this is an Irish language complex where Irish is spoken as the first language, and it is run by the Uffig na Gaeilge. Okay, there is an expression of interest on our website at the minute, and we would encourage students to go in, have a read of the information, and if it's something that you feel you'd be interested in or like to take part in, then go ahead and fill the expression of interest. If you do have any questions, all questions should be directed to the Uffig na Gaeilge, because they are the ones running the scheme. The second category of rooms we have are for access students. So again, this is run by the Disability Office, and students who need accommodation due to the impact of a disability should apply through this process. It's an online application form, again, on our website, and I will give that link at the end. And those rooms are allocated by the Access Office, and there is a set of criteria for those allocations. So again, we would advise you to look at the website, see if it's applicable to you, and go ahead and apply if you feel it is. We would encourage you to do the application sooner rather than later, as although students are prioritised, rooms are limited and you are not guaranteed a place. And then finally, we have sports rooms. So if you're a sports athlete, we have a cohort of rooms that are given to sports scholarship students. Again, it would be through the sports office, so you would need to contact them directly about a sports scholarship, and then through that means they may offer some accommodation through that scheme. So it's worth looking at those 3 options, as it may be applicable to you. Another big question, so if you're lucky enough in August to get a room on campus, and hopefully you are, another big question is how much will it cost to live on campus? So the rates for campus accommodation haven't changed since 2019, they've remained the same. And the rates are there on the screen now, but we also have our rates published on our website all year round, so you can have a more detailed look in your own time at them. So we have 2 room types available to students. We have a single ensuite room and we have a single shared bathroom. The single ensuite room is €2,935 per semester, with a €500 booking fee that becomes a utilities and service charge. And the single shared bathroom is €2,200 per semester, and it's also a €500 booking fee that is the utilities and service charge. Payment for the first semester rent is due on or before the 29th of August 2021, and the prices are the same for all rooms and all residents, regardless of what scheme or avenue you're coming through. Just briefly to speak to you about the different room types. So the single ensuite is a single private room. The single ensuite rooms will be in the River complex for students, okay? And they're a private room with a private bathroom. You're living in an apartment with 4 other students, and you have use of a shared communal kitchen and living area with all 5 of you in that apartment. The other option is the single shared bathroom. So it's a private bedroom, but you share 2 bathrooms with the 4 other students. So just to be aware of the different types, but I would advise you have a look at our website and really understand what room type you are interested in and where you would like to live. So the rooms for incoming first years will be in the River and Village complex. So a little bit about our community, or your community. So again, hopefully you'll be lucky enough to secure your accommodation. And it's important to really understand it's not just about booking the accommodation, it's about understanding what you're booking, and you're booking to be part of a wider community, and a community that we try to develop and nourish as much as we can. So one of the key things we would say to students is, feedback from students who've lived with us before is that you meet friends for life on campus. You meet so many new people, and you'll be living with all first-year students. So even if there is someone coming from home or a friend coming, even if you're not in the same apartment as them, all of our residential accommodation is in one residential quarter on the North Campus. And we would say to you, you're never very far away from anyone that you know or that you're friendly with. And what's really nice is you get to meet 4 new first years who are all in the same boat as you, and you can all start that journey together. So that's really, really nice. The second thing we would like to kind of make everyone aware of is the campus accommodation is a hugely, and we're very proud of this, a hugely diverse community. So there's, obviously, as I said, you will live with first years, but they'll be from different counties, different countries, different backgrounds. So it's really important that you know that it is different now that you're coming to university. It's a much broader and wider community. And that is what you're booking into when you book your campus accommodation. The other thing to be mindful of when you're booking your campus accommodation is this, for a lot of you guys, will probably be your first time living away from home. And that's scary and fun and all of those things all wrapped up together, okay? But it's really important that you're ready for that. So when you come to campus, you are going to be independent living. So you've got to get yourself up for the 9 a.m. lectures. There's nobody going to be saying, are you up? And you got to cook your food, shop for your dinners, be organized, be prepared. And another really fundamental part of that independent living is you've got to be able to say to somebody that you're living with, I don't like what you're doing there, or I'm not comfortable with what you're doing there, and really just own your space and be confident and able to do that. So that's a really big part of the community that we have in Maynooth. And then the last part of your community and your wider community is be a really good neighbor, okay? And you'll be happy about this during exams. So be a good neighbor. When we say be a good neighbor, we mean to the people in your apartment and to the people around you. So it's about understanding communal living. And what we really encourage students to do in that first week within their apartment is to have an apartment meeting. Understand the standards and the tolerance levels that everyone has. Who's going to do the cleaning, who's going to take out the rubbish, how often is the rubbish going to be taken out. They seem like really small and silly things, but if you sit down in that first week and really hash all of that out, you'll find you live in quite a nice, harmonious and relatively clean environment most of the year. So that's something we'd really encourage you guys to do. So that's a bit about the community. So another really important one, and I suppose to get into that community, this is what is fundamental. So how to complete the application form on a booking day. So we have a sample application form on our website, and it is recommended that you go through that well in advance. So it goes through exactly what you'll need on the day, what kind of information, page by page, exactly what you'll come up to when you book your rooms, okay? So some helpful tips for the day, and a key thing here is the more prepared you are, the more likely you are to get a room. So the more you sit down and really think about this and really plan for it, the more likely you are to get a room, because those that are prepared, we've always found kind of can get in and get organized. So some helpful tips for the booking day: have your CEO number ready. So not your leaving cert number, your CEO number, because you will be required to input that. You will also need to have your PPS number ready. Only use a laptop or desktop. I'm saying this again because it is so important. If you try to complete the form on a phone or tablet, the website doesn't, the section of the website where the booking links appear does not appear on the phone or tablet, and you won't be able to apply. So laptop or PC only, okay? Really important, research your room types in advance. So the costs and what they're like. I'll show you in the next slide. We have a really good virtual tour. Go through the river complex, go through the village complex, and see which of those suits your needs best. The virtual tour allows you to see the different room types. And the nice thing about our accommodation and purpose-built student accommodation is all the rooms are the same, and all the rooms have a similar layout. So once you can kind of get a sense of what they look like, you have an idea of what you're going to be moving into. We would also encourage that you have your booking fee of €500 at the time of booking, and you will need to have access to the phone associated with the card in order to make the online payment, because you're now have to verify your payments through an authorization process. And once you've successfully completed your booking and made a payment, the confirmation email will be sent to the email address used. Okay, so that's how you'll know you've successfully secured your room. You will get that confirmation email. If it's not in your inbox, please check your spam, because it can sometimes pop into spam in you. So why not view our virtual tour at home? So when the open day is finished and you've got all of your information, why not sit down while it's all fresh in your head and have a look and see, what do the River apartments look like? What's the reception going to look like? What's the outer buildings look like? So that you've some sense of what it is you're going to be coming to in September. So really worth taking the time and having a really good look at that. Okay. So that's it from us in the residence office. We're really glad you took the time to listen to our presentation today. If you have any questions, there is a Q&A at the end of this, but we also are happy to take any email queries that you have to residence.office@mu.ie. Myself, Corla, or any of our colleagues in the resident office would be more than happy to help you. Enjoy the sunshine for the rest of the day and enjoy the rest of the open day. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Maria. That's great. Keep the questions coming in there in the Q&A. There's Maria and Corda are happy to answer them as we go along. So I'm going to hand you over to Shawnee now, who's going to talk to you about the Homefinder service. And I suppose it's important to note, you know, as Maria mentioned, that there's always plenty of accommodation options in Maynooth. So if you don't get the on-campus, not to worry. So Shawnee and Katja are going to talk to you about the different options. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marianne and Maria. Hello, everyone. My name is Shawnee Comerford, and I work in the Student Support Hub, and I'm going to speak to you this morning about our Homefinder service. So what is it? What is the Homefinder service? Well, basically, it's a free service that we provide to you and to all incoming students and current students to give you information and resources about off-campus accommodation options. We also work very closely with the landlords here in the community, both in Maynooth and in the surrounding towns, for example, in the likes of Leixlip and Selbridge and so on. So essentially, if you're thinking about coming to Maynooth in September, and if you're not going to go with the on-campus accommodation, then basically you have two options for off-campus accommodation options in the community. The first one is to live with the owner of the property. So typically we call this digs. So you'd be living with a family, and or perhaps it's a single person who owns the property, or a couple. There might be kids and dogs, or there might be none of the above, but you would be living with the owner of that property. We call that digs. It's very appealing to first years. We note this, you know, year in and year out, that a lot of our first year students who want to live off campus go into the digs-like accommodation because it's really a home from home. But you can, of course, otherwise rent a house or an apartment on your own or with other students. So really that's up to you to have a really good think about that and what might suit you best. Many of the dig-style homes, typically we would say they would have offered, you know, for you to stay 5 or 7 nights a week. But really now, and particularly with the COVID situation, we're finding that our landlords are much more open for our students to stay for maybe 3 nights a week, or even on a B&B type basis. And more about that later. So in terms of regulation and legislation, just to point out, it's 2 very different propositions here. So if you're renting a house or an apartment on your own or with others, you must ensure that you have a lease. Really important just to review all the details of your lease and be very careful, you know, to go through, you know, every detail of that lease before you sign anything. It would be legally binding document covered by the Residential Tenancies Act of 2015. Just good to know those things. There are very specific rights and responsibilities of you as a student tenant in that home and with the landlord. And then if any kind of dispute arises, the Residential Tenancies Board is where you would go to mediate and hopefully resolve any issues that would arise. So it is more of a formal arrangement, I suppose, and one to be very, very clear of and get maybe advice on before you sign any lease. Now, alternative to that, as I've just said, if you prefer to rent a room in an owner-occupied or family home, that's a very unique relationship, you know, different setups, you know, as I said, some would be with a family, some might just be with, you know, a single person or a couple. It's unregulated. So you really need to be clear on expectations from the beginning. And similar to what Maria was saying there with regards to sitting down with roommates as you would in on campus, we would really highly recommend, and we've also communicated to our landlords, to sit down or have a discussion in advance of moving into that home of what really are the house rules, you know, because some houses will be very, you know, very loose. It doesn't matter about your comings and goings. Other landlords or homeowners, I should say, might be specific about, look, we don't really want anyone coming or going after midnight, you know, because there's children in the house. Some might say free access to the kitchen, go and make your sandwiches, whatever you want, any time of the day. Other homeowners might say, look, we'd rather you just use the kitchen facilities between this time and that time. So really, before you move in, and to avoid any kind of disappointment or conflict or anything like that, have a chat with the person whom you're going to be moving in with. Write it down. It could be very helpful to do that. It's non-legally binding. Technically, it would be called a license to reside. It doesn't have any, as I said, legal standing, but really it's just good to be very clear on expectations from the beginning, so you can really enjoy your digs accommodation. As I said, it's very popular here, particularly at Maynooth University, I think, because the town is so small. So even if you're not living on campus and you think, oh no, you know, if you're disappointed, for example, if you didn't get on-campus accommodation, don't worry, there's lots of accommodation in Maynooth town itself and surrounding towns. And most of the accommodation in Maynooth, the digs type accommodation in Maynooth, it's all walking distance to the university anyway. So it's not like you're in a big huge city where you might be miles away from university. You know, so really give it a good thought that it is a very nice option. Now, with regards to resources, the good news is we have a really excellent online platform called maynoothstudentpad.ie. And this is where you would find your off-campus accommodation. You can see a snapshot of it there. Maybe you, your guardians, your parents might be familiar with daft.ie or something like this, but really it's similar, where it's available 24 hours a day. It has live content with regards to different types of accommodation. I'm talking about off-campus here all the time, when you can filter your search based on your preferences. For example, where you want to live, what your budget is like, you know, so it's really very helpful. There's constantly a new accommodation coming on board there and going off, you know, and it's exclusive to Maynooth University students only. That's really, really important. And the good news is you don't have to remember how to, you know, you don't have to remember, you know, when should I, you know, book or anything like that, because you will automatically receive an invitation to access Maynooth studentpad.ie after you receive your CAO offer to Maynooth. Okay, so it's an automatic process, and typically you will get that by email within 24 or 48 hours of receiving your CAO offer to Maynooth University. This week, for example, I am getting questions already for students who want to come to Maynooth in September and they want access to the platform. That can't happen. Everybody gets access to Maynooth studentpad.ie at the same time and only on your CAO offer at that time. Okay, so one thing we'd also recommend very highly is that you view your property or room in advance. Okay, so again, our landlords and landladies, it depends on the situation, right? So if we're still within some kind of restriction due to COVID-19, you know, but you still intend to come up, you know, to Maynooth to live in Maynooth or into one of the surrounding towns, ask to see the property and or the room via Zoom or WhatsApp, if not in person. So budget-wise, again, it really depends on which option you're going for. So if you're going into a digs type accommodation, i.e. again, living with the owner occupier, you know, with the owner of the property, it depends on, are you asking for a meal? Are you going full board, self-catering or room only? It also depends, of course, on how many nights per week you want to stay. If you want to stay 3 nights a week, 7 nights a week, 5 nights a week. But a good, looking at the prices that have gone up already for this year, a good figure to have in mind if you are the budget holder or for the budget holder in whoever's going to be paying for you is about €130 per week. Okay, so that's a good figure to keep in mind for digs type accommodation. It'll vary on that depending, as I say, on how many nights per week, and if you're going to go for have breakfast there or dinner there, you know, what option. The kind of least expensive I've seen this year so far is about €100 per week, and the most expensive is about €150. And as I say, that might be because it includes meals or something like that. Now, if you're going to rent a house or an apartment with other students, a good ballpark figure to have in mind is about $450 to $500 per person per month, and that doesn't include the utilities, so it's excluding the utilities. So look, hopefully that gives you a good kind of broad view of the two types of off-campus accommodation that will be available for you. We have a lot of resources for you that you can access now. You don't have to wait till August for that. And that's up there at maynoothuniversity.ie/Homefinder. It gives you lots of hints and tips and information, you know, about how to get the best from your search for off-campus accommodation. So other useful websites are there. I would say, again, at this point, just go to maynoothuniversity.ie/Homefinder for resources on that. And that's all really I'm going to say for this morning, but again, open for any questions and answers after this session. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and hand you over to my colleague, Katja, who's going to speak to you more about alternative on-campus accommodation. So thank you for that.
Thanks very much, Shawnee. That's brilliant. There's loads of really useful information there. So you can keep your questions coming in. We're happy to take them in the Q&A. Katja, are you okay to go ahead?
I'm just going to share my screen. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time today, and thanks to Shawnee and Maria for their presentations. So you've been shown the on-campus accommodation options and the off-campus accommodation options. Well, my name is Katja Nolan. I'm with Maynooth Campus Conference and Accommodation, and we actually are going to show you the short stay or occasional or nightly accommodation option that you might require when you are a student here on campus. This presentation will just give you a little bit of an insight into who we are, what we are, where, more importantly, why you might need us, the accommodation offers, the options that we have on offer, how to book with us, and our rates, of course. So we're the university's conference accommodation office on the campus. We have 72 bedrooms available all year round for students to book on a nightly basis. We're located on the South Campus, and we have very generous opening and closing times. And why might you need us? Well, you may prefer to stay if you commute, maybe on an occasional basis, or perhaps regularly on a weekly, nightly basis, or you're just here for an event or something that's academic related. The university has us as Maynooth Campus Conference and Accommodation as the official conference office. So we actually organise the events and conferences on the campus throughout the year. We're here to help the students with all their inquiries regarding student overnight stays, as I mentioned before, but perhaps when you do become a student on the campus, you'll join clubs and societies, and they'll have events, and some of them may be in the evening time. So if you were to commute back home, it might not be convenient for you, so you could stay on the campus. For group stays, perhaps you have family coming up and they may want to stay and to see you and spend time with you, or perhaps when your family are settling you into the accommodation in September. And also during the exam times, during the months of January, May and August, you might need our assistance. We have for choice, we have a choice of bedrooms. We have 72 bedrooms and 48 of those are college bedrooms. They're not en suite, they're private, single or twin bedrooms. They have tea and coffee within the bedroom and a study desk and chair. Say if the library is quite full at that time and you might want to go back and have a bit of quiet time yourself, you can study within the rooms. We also have 24 ensuite bedrooms. These are single or twin. There's tea and coffee facilities within the bedroom, a study desk and chair and a television. And all our rooms have complimentary Wi-Fi, so they can be booked on single or twin basis. We also have the option of offering a continental breakfast. It is a substantial continental breakfast. It's served between 8 and 11 in Fusion Hall, which is on the South Campus and located close to our accommodation. As you can see there, there's quite a selection and it has to be pre-booked. So what some students do is they may come stay with us, maybe they're staying for 2 or 3 nights. They might book the first night with breakfast and then see how it goes and if it's something that they would like to continue with. Our office is located on the South Campus. When you're lucky enough to become a student on the campus and you go through orientation, you'll see that this campus has a North Campus and a South Campus, all quite commutable walking distance. So our office is actually located on the South Campus dates back to 1795, and the oldest building is Stoit House, which is when you enter the campus, it's the building in front, and we're located just to the left of that. So very convenient to the accommodation as well on the South Campus, as we have the en-suites in Stoit House, in St. Patrick's and Long Corridor, and the college standard rooms are all in St. Patrick's. We have very generous opening hours. We open from 7:30 to 11. So if you're at an event and you decide actually I actually want to stay over, you can ring us up to 11 o'clock in the evening, and should we have availability, of course, we can check you in. We can be contacted by during those hours by walk-in, by phone, or by email. Why might you need us? Well, to reduce the commute. Maybe perhaps you're studying late in the library, or yeah, as I mentioned, you have a clubs or society meeting, or you need to get an assignment completed in peace, and perhaps it's quite busy and noisy at home. And also during exam times in January, May, and August. In January and May, we would have 72 bedrooms, and in August, we have 1,300 bedrooms, as it's during our summer months. But perhaps as well, just catching up with friends. And also during sometimes during the winter when weather conditions aren't great, it might be a possibility as well for you to stay on the campus. I'm just going to show you a small video here. It shows the types of accommodation that we have, where our reception is located, and a taste of what it might be like staying with us on the campus. So our rates are very competitive, and as an academic student, they're VAT exempt. Our rates start from €36 on a single occupancy basis. However, we do have 42 twin bedrooms as well, so they can be booked on a twin occupancy basis as well, and that would reduce the price. We also offer discounts for consecutive night stays for 2, 3, or 7 night stays, and that helps reduce the rate. And also during exam times, so for January, May, and August, we offer special offers at times. So please check out our social media on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We also offer our students a regular short stay booking form. So this is for the students' convenience. You can reserve your accommodation in advance on a weekly basis and secure it with the credit card details at the time of the booking, but no payment is taken. Payment is only taken on check-in. And we have a flexible cancellation policy. Our cancellation policy is 11 o'clock on the previous night. So if you were to check in today, you should have cancelled by 11 o'clock last night to avoid any charges. So it's very generous. We have 24-hour on-campus security. Our safety and your safety is paramount to us. They are, as I say, 24 hours on the campus. All our guests receive their contact details at the back of their card to their room. We meet the HSA and the Fáilte Ireland accommodation guidelines. And we have a COVID-19 safety statement on our website, so please check this out. This statement gives the information and advice regarding the booking, checking in, payment, access to your bedrooms and our shared facilities. All the relevant information is there. And we hold the Fáilte Ireland COVID-19 Safety Charter. And this is a government endorsed initiative to reassure employees, employers, but most importantly, our guests, that we are ready to open and have confidence in our product. We've been fortunate to receive Fáilte Ireland Welcome Standard Award. And this is a quality assurance award to ensure our guests receive a friendly, hospitable, efficient welcome and stay with us. And also we have the Fáilte Ireland Service Excellence Award. And this shows that we strive for best in our class for service experience for all our guests. We actually have received it for 3 years in a row, so we're delighted with that. We're also part of the Stay and Spend, so that would help reduce the cost as well. I'm not too sure how long it'll go on for, but we are open for business and our guests are able to stay and use the Stay and Spend option as well to receive a refund regarding that. What are the benefits of staying with us? there are numerous. We have fully serviced standard ensuite bedrooms. They're fully serviced every day. Linen and towels and limited toiletries are provided. You have the option of a single or shared occupancy, contactless booking procedure, and smartphone room access. You did see that on the video. Our guests download an app which allows them access to their bedroom for a specific time. Enhanced cleaning and safety measures. We have the Fáilte Ireland COVID safety standard and a frequent short stay option. This is the repeat bookings that can be made in advance and secured with our credit card and charged in line with our cancellation policy. And you can actually see as well, our cancellation policy is very generous. How do you book or make a query? Please phone us, email us, click on our website, check it out, make sure that you can see everything. If you have any questions or anything at all, by all means, contact us. Stay connected. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So by all means, if you are on campus and whether you're staying with us or not, stay connected with us as you might need us over the coming year. Thank you for listening to the presentation. I really hope we may welcome you on the campus, either as a full-time on-campus accommodation, off-campus accommodation, or on an ad hoc basis. And thank you very much for your time again.
Thank you, Katja. That's fantastic. Really, so much information there from everybody. What I might do is just go through some of the questions that have been asked. There's been lots of questions in the Q&A, so we have some polls coming up on your screen if you want to have a look at them and pop your answers into them. That would be great for us. So I'm just going to go to one or two of the questions that are frequently asked. And Corla and Maria, the first one is just in relation to the PPS when you're filling in the number. I know for some of our international students, it can be confusing what a PPS number is. Sure. So if one of you, Maria, you might just explain how that works.
So the PPS number is only applicable to Irish students. So the form is set up because we are aware we have quite a number of international students coming to stay with us. So the form will prompt you with a generic PPS number to enter into that section of the form. There's information right below it, and there's also a question mark beside it. So just copy and paste what it prompts you to put in and you can proceed. Great,
thanks very much, Maria. And another question that's asked quite a lot is around the gender that goes into the apartment. So do our students have an option to choose all female or all male? And I know we've mentioned it, but some of our participants have joined a bit late. So if you're okay to take that question, Maria.
Yeah, sure. So as I said in the presentation, and I appreciate people might have missed it, but our community is a very diverse community and our apartments are all mixed gender. So it could happen that you could be in with all females, but it could also be a mix of male and female, so we don't specify. The only criteria we look at when booking is the name. That's essentially it, and you choose your own room at the time of booking.
Great, thanks, Maria. We have another question there just in relation to meal plans on campus. If Corla or Maria could take that as well.
Yeah, so we do have a catering company on campus. It's not managed by the residence office, but it is managed by the university. And if you make contact with them via the Felix restaurant, they will be able to give you your options.
Great, thanks, Corla. And then there was a question, Shoni, that came up in relation to if a student doesn't succeed in booking student residence. Could you explain? The question is, are they still able to use the Homefinder service? So if you want to just...
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe I should distinguish between international students, because I think we have a few international students here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So let me just say, number one, anyone who's coming to Maynooth University in September through the CAO will automatically receive an email to inviting you to access the Maynooth University Student Pad online platform. Okay, if you're coming through the international office and you're joining Maynooth University, for example, as an international student to the international office for a semester or for the full academic year, then you'll get an email all about off-campus accommodation automatically again. But that will come to you in June, and you will have access to the platform for the month of July. So two very separate kind of periods there to distinguish between the, we say the CAO, the students coming through CAO, and the international students.
Can I jump in there as well? Because I know there was a question about Erasmus students. So again, our process for international and Erasmus students would be different. And my advice would be to pop onto our website, and there's a direct link to the information there. And if you have any questions, pop us an email.
Great. And just while you're there, Maria, we've had another question just in relation to students who may be studying music, or if they play a musical instrument, for example, a piano, while living in a single ensuite, would it disturb the rest of the apartments? If you could take that.
Well, I mean, we would say that you would need to be mindful and respectful of the rest of the community. Yeah, absolutely, it would be heard in the rest of the apartment. So it's a shared apartment, like if you think of a standard apartment, there's 5 bedrooms, and then you have the use of a shared communal kitchen and living area. So think of your house at home. If you were playing the piano upstairs, would they hear it downstairs? Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
So it's about being mindful and respectful of the time to play and how long you play for. And it's back to what we said about, well, I suppose piano will be heard in a few apartments, but it's back to what we said about, that apartment meeting and saying, well, I might need to do this or I might need to do that, and how does it affect you? So it's about communicating with the rest of your roommates.
Okay.
I'd like to just add to that, that the music department would help students who are studying music with facilities for all of their practice. So I wouldn't worry, there will be facilities to practice music.
Great, thanks, Cola. Maria, there's loads of questions coming in. So just to go back to the international students, there's a question to say, do international students have to live off campus?
No, we have hundreds of international students on campus. It's really a matter of choice for the student. We do run specific booking days for international students. I think there's about 3 or 4 of those throughout the year. So every student is welcome on campus, the accommodation.
Great, thank you, Corla. Just another one here in relation to the exam season discounts for temporary stays in the South Campus. Katja, there's a question there. How much of the exam season discounts for temporary stays in the accommodations on South Campus? So there, I suppose you probably have lots of information on your website about the different options, but if you want to just touch on that there.
We offer quite a few different discounts. It all really depends on the duration. Sometimes it can depend on the occupancy as well. There could be, quite a few students would book in advance, especially if they're regulars with us. They know that the exams are coming up. So it depends on the availability of the accommodation. But normally it can be, anything between, 5-10%. It depends on the nature of the term, but also as well during the August repeat exam months, we've actually 1,300 bedrooms. So there's quite a choice there as well.
Great, thank you. There's a question moving away a little from a participant in relation to walking or cycling routes around campus. So we're really blessed in Maynooth that we have fantastic walking and cycling routes on our doorstep. We're on the Greenway, so there's a route that goes from Maynooth the whole way down to the west of Ireland along the canal, and it's fantastic. We have the South Campus of the university have really fantastic walking paths through lovely grounds, and we have Carton House on our doorstep. There's really lovely walks all around the town, and there's also, I suppose, just the regular footpaths around the town are well lit, so it's a really safe and I would consider it a very friendly place to live. It's safe and friendly, and it's a lovely sense of community in Maynooth. I think it's one of our key selling points. So there's another question here looking in relation to the booking times again for, I know it's difficult if people have joined a little bit late. So the booking time, does it mean I can't book accommodation until August? So Maria, if you want to explain that.
So I suppose in previous years we would have done an earlier booking in May, but with the current environment of COVID-19 and that last year we did it and we're going to do it again this year, there will just be the booking in August when everybody knows how their lectures are going to run, how the university is going to run, or hopefully will know, and what exactly their options are, and so they can make an informed choice. So all students will have the same opportunity to book that first working day after CEO offers.
Great. Thank you very much. It's great. We still have a few questions coming in. How many students get on-campus accommodation? So I think, Corley, you had touched on that, but if you want to just mention that again, how many first years get residents, student residents?
So it's between 500 and 600 students. We actually put aside 50% of the available rooms for first years. So first years do get priority. It's mainly because it's your first time away from home. It's a very simple and easy way to accommodate yourself for your first year. So that's why first years get priority.
Great, thank you. And I think it's important. I know on open day, if we were physically on campus, we would often get asked about the proximity of other options. So while residents, you're on campus, it's very important to know that Maynooth, probably in terms of walking distance, the furthest, if you were to live in a house in Maynooth off campus, that the longest, at a slow pace walk, the longest time you might spend walking home is about 20 minutes. I think everywhere is within walking distance. And Shawnee, I believe there's a map on the Homefinder website. Is there?
Yeah, there is.
Of the town,
of the different towns around as well. Like, as Marianne said, you know, if you're living off campus in the town of Maynooth, you're only 20 minutes from, you know, and that might be different from the likes of UCD or Trinity, you know, you might be more spread out. So I think that's definitely a selling factor actually for Maynooth University as well. But there are other lovely towns around that are very popular for off-campus accommodation. You know, some people might want to live closer to the city. You know, Lucan is very, very popular, you know. Leixlip, some people just like Leixlip and Selbridge as well. You know, there are really nice options around, and there's nice small towns with good connection, you know, with transport, very good transport connection as well. And remember, you know, the train here in Maynooth goes directly into Dublin, 25 minutes into Dublin as well. So you know, you're not too far from the big smoke if you want a night out in town to mix.
And a lot of international students do choose that option. They like to live somewhere that's close to Maynooth, but also close to the city centre.
Not too far at all.
We just have some other poll questions that are up there if you want to have a look at those, and we'd be really grateful if you could answer them. We have a question here asking about job opportunities on campus or off campus. And usually there are a great number of job opportunities in Maynooth. Obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted job availability, but we're hopeful that as public health guidance moves through the vaccination programme and we follow the public health guidance, both in terms of on-campus jobs and then what's available in the community, we are hoping that things will start to return to normal soon. So pre-COVID, the answer would be yes, there's lots of jobs available. At the moment, it's probably a little more limited, but we do have big supermarkets and a lot of restaurants and bars and different options like that in the town. So there's a lot of jobs that students can become involved in. I have a question here, and it's a really fair and honest question to ask in terms of face-to-face learning for September. We will just have to follow public health guidance. Unfortunately, we don't know at the moment if we're going to be doing face-to-face learning or blended learning or remote learning. Any decisions that the university make will be based on public health guidance at the time, but we all remain really hopeful and we're all looking forward to the time where we're back to on-campus learning. So I would say just keep an eye on the university website for updates on that. So I have another question here, is about the maximum 20 minutes walking maximum from off-campus residents. Yes, so the on-campus is very close. It's 2 or 3 minutes to a lot of the lecture theatres, 5 maybe if you're on South Campus. So if you were living off-campus in the town of Maynooth, the furthest would be about 20 minutes walking. Shawnee, there's a question there just around parking spaces around campus, if you wanted to take that.
Yeah, sure. Very much adequate parking and dedicated parking as well for different cohorts. So there's dedicated parking for students only, so you don't need to worry about that. There's permits that you would receive, and you get all the information once you become a registered student. But absolutely, there's adequate parking. Yeah.
Also have parking as well for our guests that are staying. It's at the back of St. Mary's, and so just specifically just for our guests.
Great, thanks, Katja. There's a question here just around public study areas and libraries, whether or not they're open at the moment. We have limited openings at the moment. Again, we're operating within the level 5 restrictions, so there are limited openings at the moment. And then there's a question there, if college is going to be more online based, if the focus is online, would you be able to book accommodation for the latter end of the year? Shawnee, if you want to talk about that maybe. So if say, for example, our first semester was mostly online and semester 2 maybe next year was more face-to-face, can students book accommodation for semester 2?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the situation is if I understand the question correctly, the situation is very fluid. And I think the main thing for our students to understand is, our landlords and landladies, they're the same as ourselves. They're all just going with the flow with regards to regulations and all the rest of it. So what we have really encouraged them in our communication to our landlords and landladies is flexibility. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier on, in terms of having a discussion, with whoever, you're signing a lease with, be that, with a landlord, or be that with an owner occupier of the house, in an agreement to say, look, in the event that, I don't know, another wave, God forbid, if COVID hits, and I need to go home, what's the situation there? But I think the main point here is flexibility, and having a discussion upfront before you move into any accommodation, have that discussion. And I just want to say as well, there's, if you don't be too if you want on-campus accommodation, and you might be disappointed, that what I just want to say is that there is usually a great stock of off-campus accommodation, and in Maynooth town. And so you won't be too far from the action at all if you're not on campus, just to bear that in mind, because it definitely is different to the other universities around the country in that regard.
Thank you. Yeah. And it doesn't affect, our experience would be living off campus doesn't have a negative effect on your university experience. So if you're living in the town in Maynooth, you can still have a very full, fun and rich university experience. And many students choose to stay in that off-campus accommodation.
The majority of students are off-campus, so just to bear that in mind. And our landlords and landladies and our home occupiers in Maynooth and surrounding towns are really used to having students, right? So they know how it works. They know how, they know you need your freedoms, and that, very, very reasonable. And if they're opening their homes to have people stay there, they want that. They like having students. Some landlords and landladies will even hold off on advertising to first years only. They really love having first years. Some prefer having international, some prefer having PhD, but a lot of our digs, our owner occupier, love having first years.
Great. There's just a question that's come in. If the college continues to operate online, will the campus accommodation process still work the same way?
Yeah, last year is really all we can go by. Can't really predict what will happen next year, although we're very, very hopeful that it'll just go back to normal. But last year, just to give a sense, we had about 90%, we were 90% full right up to Christmas. So people stayed here, did their study online here, and lived on campus. Now it did reduce as the year went on. I think we went to something like between 55 and 60% by the Easter holidays. But there was perfectly normal living conditions here. We operated exactly as we always did for whoever was here. I suppose a lot of international students decided to stay. I think a lot of people who felt that, our Wi-Fi is good, and if you were online, you were absolutely assured to get into your lectures. I think one of the other attractions to people was that, they were with their peer group, they were living with their friends, and it was enjoyable. So yes, I think is the answer.
Yes, thank you, Corla. And Corla, could you just explain, there's a question that's come in relation to a refund. So if a student booked a room and we were to continue operating remotely and they decided they wanted to return home because we're not face-to-face, what is the process there if you could give an outline of that.
Yeah, so again, I don't know what the university
Yeah.
will decide in the future, but what
Yeah.
we did last year was that everybody got a refund. Everybody
Great.
who wanted to go got a refund. So
Okay. Perfect.
And I
Thank
would
you very
say
much.
for off-campus accommodation, our landlords and landladies were very, very reasonable as well, where students went home, you know. So, and again, just discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a question just that's come in terms of the labs, if we had any online or on campus learning this year, were any labs open. So it varied throughout the year. So depending on what the public health restrictions were, what level we were operating within, it varied. So there was a certain amount of lab activity, and there has been some learning in face-to-face learning on campus, but it's varied throughout the year, and we expect it'll continue to follow the public health guidelines. So I hope that answers that question. I'm just watching the time there, so we've just a couple of more minutes left. There's still questions coming in just in relation to the recording. So this has been recorded, and I believe if you want to get the recording, Deirdre, is it an email that they would send in to request the recording?
The recording will be available about next week on the
Right.
website. It should be, yeah. And
Perfect.
you can always email us on admissions@mu.ie if anyone wants to follow up on it or is looking for it then.
Great, thank you. There's a question there just in relation to international students who might struggle with English. I am not 100% sure of that answer. Do any of my colleagues have that, if there are supports available for international students that may need support with their English? Maybe what you could do is I'll type an answer into that and just give you an email address that you can email us, and we can try and get an answer for you to that one. As international students, if the first lessons are online, will we still be able to live near campus? Yes, absolutely. I mean, for any student, the choice of where you would like to live is yours to make. And a lot of our students, even though we're operating within a level 5, quite a restricted way at the moment, a lot of our students chose to stay in Maynooth and are, you know, happy to be in the area close to the university. So it's your choice, and you're free to choose if you want to stay in the Maynooth area or live in one of the towns locally or stay on campus.
Somebody, Marianne, was asking also, just to help you out with the questions coming in, asking about gym and shower facilities. Just to tell you, we have super sports facilities in a gym here, so absolutely 100%. There's great clubs and societies, super active. I'm sure there's other webinars about that later on today, but it's a really active place if you so care to use those facilities. Yeah.
Marianne, I see a question in there that it's something that will come up a lot for us, and I might just quickly answer it live rather than typing it privately. So they asked if they could share with a friend or how would it be allocated a room. So as I said in the presentation, the campus is all really close by. So even if you're not living in the same apartment, you'll be close by them. But in terms of the booking, when you book the room on the day, you pick your exact room that you will be living in. And if other students if you want to live with specific students, you would all need to book the same apartment. What we would recommend is that you concentrate on getting a room for you, because the demand is very high. And on that day, I would say focus on what you need and getting the booking for yourself. And everybody else will all be very close by if they get their on-campus accommodation. That is our recommendation for that, because it is so close to all the other complexes and apartments within the on-campus. So you're never going to be very far away from anyone.
Thanks, Maria. There's just a question in terms of our start date for next year. So it's generally, we don't have the exact date at the moment, but it's usually around the middle of September. But again, just, I suppose, keep an eye on the website and the CEO. It'll vary depending on that, but keep an eye on the website for updates on that. Just to reiterate, sorry?
Add to that.
Yeah, of course, Corla, sorry.
Our start date is the 12th of September, so people will be able to check in to the room on the 12th of September, or from that date, whenever it's afterwards.
Great. So all of the videos, this recording will be made available on the website. We're almost out of time. There's a question just in relation to The costs of accommodation is a really commonly asked question. All of the information, there's a guide for all of this on our websites. So if you go onto the Maynooth University website, you'll find all of the answers. We have excellent resources on the websites for on-campus accommodation, for Homefinder, and for the accommodation on MCCA in the South Campus. So please do feel free to have a look on the website, and there are contact details for all of us on those websites. So if you have any questions that you've missed or we haven't answered today, do feel free to email us and get in touch. There's often a little ask button as well, which is an instant chat that's available during the week, during office hours. So I'd like to say thank you very much to you all. It's been a great, it's a great opportunity for us in these virtual environments that we're working in to be able to help you make the choice around your accommodation options in Maynooth University. Thank you very much to all the panelists. We've had so much information covered today, and I think that's everything. If we're almost good to go. So again, this recording will be made available on the website, and if you have any questions, you're free to email them to us. You'll get all our contact details on the website. So thank you all very much, and I think we're done. Are we, Deirdre?
Bye.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks for
everybody.
tuning in.
Bye now.